From movies to video games, ninjas have become iconic figures in popular imagination. But what many don't know is that, behind the legends and myths, there is an even more fascinating reality. The origin of ninjas wasn't driven by a desire for glory or power, but by the pure and simple need to survive during a time of intense conflict in feudal Japan. While samurai shone under the spotlight of honor and loyalty, ninjas operated in the shadows, with no code of ethics or rules, doing whatever was necessary to ensure victory. But do we really know who these silent warriors were and how they emerged? Or are we trapped in the distorted image that pop culture has sold us? What we are about to discover goes far beyond what Hollywood shows us. We will explore the historical and social context that gave rise to ninjas, understand how the political instability of feudal Japan and constant wars forced the emergence of a class of warriors who needed to operate outside traditional limits. And the most interesting part, how their skills and tactics shaped the course of history and, to this day, influence global culture. If you thought ninjas were just action characters, get ready to uncover the true story behind the legends. Ninjas emerged during the Kamakura period, a time when Japan was engulfed in conflict and profound social changes. While samurai followed a strict code of honor, ninjas arose as an alternative, experts in espionage and infiltration, moving in the shadows without drawing attention. Imagine living in a society where every move is watched. Ninjas had to be invisible, going unnoticed as they completed their missions. It's fascinating to think about how this ability to blend in was the secret to their success, and something any of us could apply today by being strategic and observant in social environments. The great distinction of ninjas was their ability to act as ordinary people, playing the roles of merchants, peasants, or even artists, all while gathering crucial information. They didn't have the luxury of the samurai's heavy armor. Instead, they dressed in a way that allowed them to blend in with the crowd, always ready to disappear. Today, if we think about the corporate world, we can see the influence of these tactics. Knowing how to adapt, observe without being noticed, and collect the right information to make strategic decisions. Who wouldn't want to be a ninja in the business world? The ninja's ability to remain in the shadows was perfected over the years, making them key players in wars and revolutions. The Kamakura period shaped them into unparalleled spies, whose infiltration skills changed the course of several battles. They influenced history so much that, even today, in history books and Japanese mythology, ninjas remain symbols of cunning and mystery. And it's interesting to think that their strategies weren't just about war, but about survival in a world that demanded constant adaptation. Ninjas were masters of disguise, assuming roles that allowed them to move freely without raising suspicion. They dressed as merchants, craftsmen, or even monks, which gave them access to strategic locations and castles where they could gather vital information. Imagine the skill needed to convince guards that you're just a humble merchant while, in reality, you're about to uncover secrets that could decide the fate of a war. This social camouflage is a lesson in adaptation, one that can still be applied today when we need to blend into unfamiliar environments. Beyond disguise, ninjas mastered espionage in a way that allowed them to extract information without being noticed. They understood that it wasn't just about infiltrating but knowing when and how to ask the right questions, observing details others overlooked. In a modern world, this ability to read between the lines and notice subtle behaviors can be the key to success. Think about how, in daily interactions, small pieces of information can be crucial for making the best decisions, whether at work or in personal life. Ninja tactics involved more than just physically hiding. It was about manipulating the perception of those around them. They used what we would now call reverse psychology, appearing harmless when, in reality, they were highly dangerous. They knew that real power lay in being underestimated, a lesson that echoes today in various fields, from business negotiations to social interactions. The next part of this story will reveal how these tactics evolved with the use of martial arts and secret weaponry. Ninjas were true masters of martial arts, and their skill extended beyond physical strength. They specialized in jiu-jitsu, aikido, and karate, but what truly set them apart was the use of these techniques combined with their stealth tactics. In combat, the idea wasn't to confront the enemy head-on, but to use agility and precision to defeat them quickly, without drawing attention. In a modern situation, it's like facing a problem and, instead of tackling it directly, using smart strategies to solve it quietly and efficiently. In addition to martial arts, ninjas had an arsenal of weapons that helped them complete their missions. The shuriken, a small metal star, was thrown with deadly precision, while the short sword allowed for quick attacks. But perhaps the most interesting tool was the smoke bomb, a device that allowed them to disappear in the midst of combat, confusing their opponents. Today, this ability to create distractions or to escape complicated situations can be seen as a tactic for handling problems intelligently, avoiding unnecessary confrontations. Ninjas' training with secret weapons was as intense as their martial arts practice. They had to master not only strength but also timing and precision, qualities that made all the difference in life or death situations. When transferred to the modern world, these skills highlight the importance of preparation and mastery of specific tools to overcome challenges. But beyond the weapons, what made ninjas unbeatable was their intense training from childhood, something we will explore next. From childhood, ninjas underwent rigorous training that demanded not only physical strength but also mental fortitude. They were prepared to survive under the most adverse conditions, from hiding in forests to blending into cities without being noticed. This discipline, forged from an early age, shaped their ability to withstand pressure, a trait we can associate with resilience in the face of personal and professional challenges today. Like ninjas, developing this ability to adapt is essential for overcoming the obstacles life throws our way. Beyond physical conditioning, training included the learning of stealth combat tactics and espionage. This meant that young ninjas trained not only their bodies but also their minds. The ability to think strategically, anticipate the enemy's movements, and act quickly and efficiently was key to success. Today, we can apply this same logic in our own lives by preparing for unexpected situations with mental and emotional agility. After all, the ability to solve problems quickly is something every modern ninja needs to master. This training also prepared them for something much greater. The role of ninjas wasn't just to fight but to carry out delicate missions, such as assassinations and sabotage, that required precision and total emotional control. They couldn't afford to make mistakes. The next natural step for a ninja, after mastering martial arts and stealth training, was to put these skills into practice in life or death missions, a topic we'll explore next. Ninjas weren't just spies. They were also assassins and saboteurs, hired to carry out missions that required extreme precision and secrecy. They were called upon for tasks like poisoning wells, setting castles on fire, or destroying enemy fortress gates. What made them so effective was their ability to infiltrate, carry out the attack, and disappear without a trace. This skill teaches us the importance of acting strategically and efficiently, whether in a work project or personal challenges. After all, the less noise you make, the greater your chance of success. Ninjas' assassination missions were often aimed at important leaders or strategic figures. With a single, well-placed strike, they could change the course of battles and political conflicts. It's intriguing to think that this surgical approach can be applied in modern life when we need to make tough decisions, acting with precision, eliminating distractions, and focusing on the desired outcome. A practical example of this can be seen in the business world, where well-planned strategies can destabilize competitors and shift the balance. Sabotage was another specialty of ninjas, who knew how to target the most vulnerable points of a fortress or a supply network. Their actions created chaos among enemy troops, weakening their forces without the need for large battles. This type of strategic approach can be used today in various areas. By identifying the weak points of a challenge or situation, we can find ways to overcome them with minimal effort. And of course, female ninjas, or kunoichi, played a vital role in many of these missions, something we'll explore next. The kunoichi, female ninjas, were just as skilled and dangerous as their male counterparts but had a unique advantage: their ability to infiltrate environments that men couldn't access. Often disguised as geishas, maids, or court ladies, they used their appearance and charm to gain the trust of their targets. Imagine the power of someone who appears harmless but is always ready to act at the right moment. This skill of subtle manipulation is still something to be admired today, especially in situations that require diplomacy and persuasion. These women were not only spies but also assassins, hired to eliminate important targets, usually military or political leaders. Their ability to act under disguise gave them direct access to information and opportunities that traditional ninjas couldn't reach. In many cultures, the role of women was underestimated, but the kunoichi showed that their strategic abilities could turn the tide in critical situations. Just like them, we often underestimate our own capabilities in daily challenges, but it's in subtlety that true power lies. In addition to their physical strength and stealth skills, the kunoichi were experts in poisons and traps, using this knowledge to destabilize their enemies without raising suspicion. Their tactics were as lethal as they were silent, and their presence on missions often went unnoticed until it was too late. This combination of intelligence, stealth, and persuasion made them powerful figures in the world of feudal espionage, and their influence can still be felt today in stories and myths that celebrate the role of women in history. The next step is to understand how legendary clans shaped and mastered the art of espionage in feudal Japan. The Iga and Koga clans are two of the most legendary in ninja history, and their rivalry shaped the way espionage was conducted in feudal Japan. These clans developed distinct tactics, each with its own approaches to infiltration, assassination, and information gathering. Imagine a scenario where these families, hidden in the mountains, raised generations of ninjas who specialized in secret techniques. All of this happened far from the public eye, but their actions directly influenced the course of wars and political intrigues. The Iga clan, famous for its location in a mountainous region, perfected guerrilla and espionage techniques that allowed its members to act with speed and discretion. Meanwhile, the Koga clan, located further east, was known for training ninjas skilled in hand-to-hand combat and silent infiltration. These differences created a rivalry that lasted for centuries and, in many ways, shaped the very history of Japan. What we can learn here is that even within the same field of expertise, different approaches can be equally effective, depending on the context and needs. These clans also fought secret wars with each other for control over Japan's espionage networks. While the general public saw the samurai as the heroes of the time, it was in the shadows that the ninjas of these clans made crucial decisions. This struggle for control of information, in an era when knowledge was true power, reminds us of the importance of knowledge and strategy in any area of life. The next step on this ninja journey is to explore the legendary heroes that emerged from these stories, such as Hattori Hanzo, one of the most famous ninjas of all time. Hattori Hanzo is undoubtedly one of the most famous names when it comes to legendary ninjas. He served directly under Tokugawa Ieyasu, one of the most influential leaders in Japan's history, and was essential to Ieyasu's survival and rise to the title of shogun. Hanzo stood out not only for his combat skills, but also for his unwavering loyalty and his ability to command other ninjas in dangerous missions. He was the embodiment of the ideal ninja, silent, efficient, and absolutely dedicated to his mission. He teaches us that sometimes success depends on finding the right mentor to follow. Hanzo was known for his ability to plan complex missions, involving espionage, infiltration, and swift attacks. Under his command, ninjas were more than mere warriors. They became key players in the political chessboard of the time. It's interesting to see how a ninja's role wasn't limited to the battlefield. His strategic intelligence made Hanzo one of Tokugawa's most valuable advisors, something that, even today, can be applied in corporate or leadership contexts. Being indispensable is not just about what you do, but how you think. Hattori Hanzo's story is proof that behind every great leader, there are people willing to fight in the shadows to ensure success. His loyalty and cunning were crucial to the rise of the Tokugawa shogunate, a regime that shaped Japan for over 2 centuries. The legend of Hanzo continues to inspire movies, series, and books about ninjas, keeping the fascination with these silent warriors alive. However, over time, and with the pacification of Japan, ninjas themselves became a threat to the feudal lords, which led to their downfall, a fate we'll explore next. With the end of constant wars and the unification of Japan under Tokugawa Ieyasu's rule, ninjas began to be seen as a threat. After all, they had been essential in times of conflict, but in times of peace, their skills became a problem for the feudal lords, who feared the possibility of betrayal. The rise of the shogunate brought stability, but also marked the beginning of the decline of ninja clans, who were persecuted and eventually forced into hiding. This shift shows us how even the most valuable can be discarded when the landscape changes. Ninjas, once essential for victory in battles and secret missions, now had to hide or adapt their skills for new purposes. Some secret organizations were created to control these shadow warriors, but many were dissolved over time. This transition was a direct reflection of how political power reorganized itself in feudal Japan. In times of peace, the espionage and sabotage skills that made them indispensable were now viewed with suspicion. It's interesting to think about how, today, even the most stable careers can be shaken by global changes or shifts in market demands. The fall of the IGA and Koga clans marked the end of an era, but ninjas did not completely disappear. Even after their official extinction, stories of their exploits continued to circulate, influencing popular culture for centuries. This shows us that even when a skill or role is no longer needed, the legacy left behind can endure. And indeed, the impact of ninjas still resonates strongly, especially today, as we saw their popularity peak in the 80s and 90s, something we'll explore next. Even with the official extinction of ninja clans, their stories and legends continued to inspire generations. The legacy of ninjas is deep and multifaceted, permeating not only Japanese history but also global mythology and popular culture. In the 80s and 90s, the world witnessed a true renaissance of interest in ninjas, thanks to movies, TV shows, and even video games that portrayed these shadow warriors as mysterious heroes. The image of the ninja, always shrouded in mystery and skill, became a cultural icon, proving that the impact of past actions continues to live in our modern narratives. Ninjas ceased to be historical figures and became myths, their skills and feats exaggerated to the point of seeming supernatural. The idea of a silent, invisible, and unbeatable warrior still fascinates people of all ages. Today, we see references to ninjas in various forms of entertainment, from anime to major film productions. This makes us think about how history can be shaped and reinterpreted according to the cultural needs of each era. In the case of ninjas, their figure was transformed into a symbol of discipline, mystery, and cunning. The legacy of ninjas goes beyond fiction. It teaches us practical lessons about strategy, adaptation, and persistence. Even when times change and some skills are no longer valued, the knowledge we gain along the way can continue to influence the future. The resurgence of ninjas in pop culture is proof that, even after centuries, their story still has the power to captivate and teach. Now that we understand the trajectory of ninjas from their rise to their legacy in modern culture, it's time to dive into the broader context, the origin of ninjas in feudal Japan. You've learned all about the origin of ninjas, their methods, and how they shaped feudal Japan. But what will you do with this knowledge? Knowing how they overcame adversity and used their skills to adapt, the question remains. What can you learn from them to apply in your own life? Whether at work, in studies, or in daily challenges, strategy, discipline, and the ability to reinvent yourself are skills you too can develop. So, are you ready to use this ninja wisdom in your everyday life? The story of ninjas is much more than tales of espionage and combat. It's a lesson in persistence, adaptation, and resilience. The world may no longer be the same, but the principles they followed remain valuable today. Are you prepared to face your challenges with the same precision and cunning as the ninjas? If you enjoyed what you've learned here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to keep discovering more about the fascinating world of history and mythology. Don't miss the chance to deepen your knowledge and become a master on your own journey.